From being kicked out of the biggest team in F1 to causing some of the stupidest crashes in the 2025 season, Liam Lawson is one of the strangest drivers on the grid. With a haircut of a lesbian receptionist and a bigger ego than Lance Stroll, Liam's entry to Formula 1 has not been good. But how in the hell did Liam Lawson get here in the first place? Now, of course, you don't become a Formula 1 terrorist overnight, because when you look back, it kind of makes sense.
Every fucking driver, get out of my way! I'm Liam Lawson! I'm Liam Lawson! You're jealous that I'm quicker! Here's my middle finger, Liam Lawson! I'm Liam Lawson!
At Diddy's favorite age of 13, a young Liam Lawson made his debut in Formula Mansfield, in which he came runner-up in the standings. Unlike Valtteri Bottas, he didn't like number 2, so a few months later in Formula First, he won the championship and Rookie of the Year. He didn't have any big crashes or whatnot, so bragging rights were all his. But see, with Liam, none of these issues started till Formula 3. Liam had won his debut in every series he'd competed in and didn't buy his way up the series, unlike Lance Stroll. Now, unlike some cuckolds, Lance and Lawson also have a lot in common. They were only good when they felt like it, and one race he came 25th, and another he came 5th. One race he came 3rd, and he finished the season in 11th place, all of which being in Formula 3. But it was after this point that the Kiwi driver would go from a cute Justin Bieber remake to one of the most insufferable drivers on the entire Formula 1 grid. Not worse than Lance Stroll, that's just impossible. He would have a combination of shit luck and Lord Maldonado's DNA as he recreated what Hamilton did to Albon, except he also crashed as well. The rest of the season would be nothing but mid, and more mid. He started first for the sprint race in Monza, but dropped all the way down to 6th. He eventually finished the championship in 6th and was announced to drive for Formula 2 in 2021. Now, when Formula 2 arrived in Bahrain, people thought Lawson was the next Lewis Hamilton. He won the first race he participated in, like Hamilton did. His season would go downhill from there, like Hamilton's has. He got spun in the main race after leading, which is okay, you know, it happens or whatever. But it was in Baku where people saw a young crash stopping in Lawson. In the opening lap of the Grand Prix, Drugovich got a little too erect and stuck his schlong into Piastri, who then pushed Lawson, who was driving beside him. But instead of braking and waiting till Piastri passes, he channels his inner Lance Stroll and drives straight into the wall. The Kiwi then blamed Piastri when he couldn't do anything about it, but it wouldn't be the only cook that Piastri's had to deal with. You would think after fumbling the bag on lap 1, Lawson would take some time to himself and think, how can I not fuck up lap 1 in the next race? But to no one's surprise, he did everything but that, where in the feature race, he proved to everyone that he is still in fact a little virgin. In the opening lap of the feature race, Jury Vips, his teammate, would take the lead from him, and any other driver would stay behind and find an opportunity to pass again. But that's not what this lesbian does. Theo Pourchaire gets a great run on Lawson, but he swings his car to the left of the track, cutting him off and almost sending him into the wall. They go over the pit entry as well, so if there was someone there, it would have been a crash. To no one's surprise, he gets a 10-second penalty, but just watch his reaction.
Esteban Ocon rolls the dice. He's hoping now for a...
And trust me, the crash-happy driver just gets more degenerate the more he drives. In another race, he fucked it into the barriers for no reason at all. No pressure, no overtakes, not even Lance Stroll behind him. And somehow, he still fucking crashed. Keep in mind, the best result he had was a win back in Bahrain, and since then, he'd fucked everything else. And to top things off, in the penultimate round in Jeddah, he fucks it into the barriers again. The Virgin Kiwi had a decent start, but replicated his idol Latifi for the rest of the season, finishing 9th in the standings. 2022, what a year. The Queen's fucking dead. The FIA's president announced he's gay. Well, pretty much. And Lawson somehow came 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. The lesbian cook would crash a shit ton, but something happened that year that meant Lawson would drive in F1 in 2023. You see, here's what happened. Again, Jury was his teammate in 2021 and was on the verge of getting into AlphaTauri. But then he said something very interesting on livestream that would end his entire career. When I say his entire career, I mean all of it. All of his sponsors just fucking killed themselves. A week later, Christian Jury kicked him out of the Racing Bulls junior team, which meant Liam Lawson was next in line to get his whole week by Daddy Verstappen. He would be promoted to reserve driver in Red Bull, and in 2023 was waiting for a booty call from Christian Horner. While he was waiting, he wouldn't participate in Formula 2, but instead made his way all the way over to Japan and chill with guys of similar sized dick. But if Formula 1 is the pinnacle of motorsport, then Super Formula is where you go if you're a F1 reject. If you're shit like Logan Sargent, you get into IndyCar, a fate worse than Lance Stroll's bedroom, and when the Kiwi arrived in Super Formula, he was instantly on pace. For the most part of the season, Liam was in a championship battle with Ridama Mayada. I don't know how to say that name, I'm sorry. And with 2 rounds to go, the gap between the two was actually only 1 point. The Kiwi would qualify 3rd, but after the lights went out, he then showed everyone how he was having a lesson from Nikita Mazepin. He instantly passed his 2nd place, and the only driver in front of him was his teammate, his championship rival. Down in 8th place, Lawson could swing the entire championship in his favor and and maybe even win it for the first time. But Lawson swings around the outside and gets stuck in a curb and spins onto the middle of the track. What would happen next would be the biggest crash in Super Formula history. The race was basically red flagged because of the knobhead, and during this, the mechanics repaired the car, where Liam then received a drive-through penalty because it wasn't allowed, resulting in a championship-losing P13, where he tried to come back in the finale at Suzuka, but it was a lost cause. But before Matoji... How the fuck do you say that name? Meduki? Even took place, something would happen that would massively change Lawson's hopes of getting a seat, and now he was even closer than ever. You see, there was someone in 2023 that was worse than prime Nicholas Latifi, Nikita Mazepin, Pastor Maldonado, and somehow worse than 2021 F2 Liam Lawson. His name was Nick de Vries. If IndyCar was for hardcore Formula rejects, then Formula E was for cuckold versions who never had a shot at making it at the top and only got in because of daddy's money. Sounds like someone that I know. As bad as Nick de Vries was, now he wasn't as bad as Liam Lawson in this current season, but we'll get into that a little later. Christian Horner used all of Nick's holes and had enough fun with him, so he brought back his favorite cuckold Daniel Ricciardo to replace Nick. People liked him too, but he liked Christian Horner a little bit too much. In FP2 for the Dutch Grand Prix, the Honey Badger jacked off Christian Horner too much and broke his wrist when slamming into the wall, obviously caused because of Oscar Piastri. He would then sit out the next 5 races while his fans were sucking his dick at every Instagram post. That could only mean one person would take his position. Liam Lawson. He would qualify 20th and would finish 13th in the Dutch Grand Prix, and at one point even battled Max Verstappen. Not for the lead because he was actually getting lapped, but it was like a nice gooning session for the little virgin. In the next race in Monza he performed well, but it was in Singapore which he actually shocked everyone. He even tickled the balls of Max in the qualifying for the Singapore Grand Prix, and everyone knew Red Bull were weak, but they had no idea how much. As per usual, Liam fucked it into the barrier at the end of Q1 and sets the stage for Q2. Both Red Bulls were struggling all of qualifying, and the shock would come to an end. The Minister of Disgrace, Sergio Perez, spins at the first corner of the track and qualified in 12th place, while Maxipad drove his tractor to 10th place, only there was still one person to finish the lap, Liam Smalldick Lawson. Well, Liam slapped his AlphaTauri into 10th place, basically knocking out Max Verstappen, meaning there would be no Red Bull in the entirety of Q3. He qualified 10th in the end, but knocking out both Red Bulls gave him a lot of credibility to secure a seat next year. On top of that, Liam finished 9th in the race to score his first ever points, one of his best weekends in the entirety of F1. But remember, this video is about how crash happy Liam Lawson is. And on his final lap of 2023 in Qatar, he did just that. After starting at the back, he had no pressure at all from anyone, but he still spun out for no reason at all. He sent himself a kilometer into the gravel and out of the sprint race, and after a great performance, Daddy Horner knew that Liam would get better in a seat at Red Bull, but he just couldn't figure out where. For some reason, he signed Perez again for 2024, so there would be no changes for the Red Bull lineup that year. Well, not until later the same year. But with Red Bull royally losing the Constructors' Championship, the only hope they had was switching drivers. Maxipad was clearly still dominating in the tractor because of a certain Twitch streamer decided to drive for McLaren. And for some reason, after Ricciardo fixed his wrist, he was still just not good enough for Red Bull's eyes. The only real highlight he had was in P3 in qualifying in Miami, but apart from that, he was just not that great in 2024. Not even Christian Horner wanted to pour honey on the Badger, and he had enough of the dreadful results. At the 2024 Singapore Grand Prix, it was rumored that Liam would take Daniel's place because of the horrible run he was on. And as he crossed the line, Daniel would complete his final race in F1. It was time for Liam Lawson to step in and prove himself that he was not only worthy of an F1 seat, but Sergio Perez's one as well. And with 6 rounds before the season ends, he had plenty of time to improve for next year. At the US Grand Prix, he would qualify 19th because of engine penalties, but pulled it back to 9th place, which was a great effort. Even Daddy Horner sucked his toes and told him how good of a driver he was. At the very next race in Monaco, Lando was busy fighting for championships that didn't exist, and Sergio Perez showed why he's a disgrace to the country. While Max and Lando were busy manhandling each other, Lawson forced an overtake on Perez that resulted in them making contact. So the Minister of Cake, Perez, sends it down the inside where he was never going to make the corner in the first place. Even though Max does the same thing, I respect him because he's actually fast, this tortilla is not why Horner kicked him out at the end of the season. It was between Tsunoda or Lawson to see who was going to get the promotion, and in the next race at Brazil, Lawson had a fantastic qualifying and came 5th when Tsunoda came 3rd. At the start of the race, he got passed by 2 cars and ended up with Alonso and Piastri behind him. He somehow then defended them really well and keeps them both behind for 11 laps. Before the race, Max decided to snort some cocaine because he started in 17th, and by the lap 11 came around, he moved up to 5th and somehow even finished the race in 1st. But he had to pass Liam to get there, and Daddy Horner came on the radio saying to let him pass and you got a seat. Well, not really, but probably because Liam didn't put up a fight at all. He gave some cookies and milk and sent him on his way to get his ass whooped in a few laps, because Oscar Piastri pulled down Liam's trousers and sent him into a completely new dimension on lap 26. He recovered to 9th while Tsunoda finished 8th, barely seeing anything between them, but you know what the fucker said before the race even started? He said, he's not here to make friends, he's here to win. Well, let's see how that sentence aged. The fucker did nothing at all in Vegas and finished 16th, but what happened in Qatar should have resulted in Tsunoda getting the second Red Bull seat. At the start of the Qatar Grand Prix, Hülkenberg fucked it into Ocon, who then fucks it into Colapinto, taking both of them out of the race. Meanwhile, the spastic window licker after 10 years in F1 still doesn't know what spatial awareness is, and sends Albon into the 4th dimension, bringing out a safety car. Liam, who's in 14th, had to get himself up to the points because Tsunoda was in 10th, but you know what the Kiwi does? Let me tell you. He understeers across the entire track in the first corner and spins while hitting Valtteri Bottas at the same time. The stewards slap a 10-second penalty on him, and from that point, there's no point in even driving. Just pack your bags and go home. And to those who think 14th isn't that bad, there were 5 DNFs in this race. Anyways, in the season finale, Perez didn't finish, thank God, and Liam Lawson didn't finish either because of engine issues, and Tsunoda only finished 13th. You would think that from the last 6 races where both Tsunoda and Lawson had raced, that Yuki would get the C. He caused less crashes, got more points, qualified better, and pretty much everything. But then Christian Horner remembered he's not only having an affair, but he's also racist. He decided it would be a better decision to promote Liam Lawson, who'd only had 11 races, rather than Yuki, who had had 3 years of experience. And so after 4 years, Max Verstappen would finally have a new teammate. But he would not be as good as anyone thought he would be. People knew that there was an issue with the second seat at Red Bull, but with Lawson, the issue would have been for everyone else. 2025, what a year it's been so far. The Astronomer CEO caught having an affair, Tung Tung Sahur is the new brain rot, and Liam Lawson found his way in Red Bull. In preseason testing, he seemed alright, but things really kicked off after the first race of the season. And by kickoff, I mean the worst thing since I've seen my mother's funeral. And somehow that might even top how bad it is. Liam Lawson, the man who said he's here to win, qualified in 18th for the season opener in Australia. And there's more. Yuki Tsunoda, the man who really deserved a seat, qualified in 5th. Surely after something like that, when you've just joined a team, you step back and say, okay, this can't happen again. But remember, Liam Lawson had the trim of a goth girl, and he doesn't listen to the system. And you know what he did in the next race? He did what he has done a million times before. Folded under zero pressure. Doohan, Hajar, and Sainz all fucked it into the barriers on the opening lap of the race, bringing out a safety car, and by lap 34, he had moved up into 14th after Fernando also fucked it into the barriers. Liam was only ahead by 2 Haas's, which were basically Chinese Formula 4 cars with how slow they were. After the safety car restart by lap 44, Liam was ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto, a rookie in a green wheelie bin, and Piastri was rubbing Lando's cock a little bit too hard and spun off the track into the grass. At the same time, the rain had stopped, so Red Bull brought in Liam on the mediums to see if the gamble would work. As soon as him and Verstappen put slicks on, the rain came down even harder, so Red Bull had fumbled the bag. Max came in to change back into the inters, but you know what Liam did? He said, trust me, it'll lighten up. I'm not here to make friends, and stay out. He in fact did stay out, and spun out on lap 44, slapping him and his little willy into the barriers. Max pulled himself together and finished half a second off of the lead, but Liam, he was never even in the top 10 of the entire race. After such a horror start in the season, he had 4 days to relax and properly fix the mindset before F1 arrived in China, and in the sprint shootout, things seemed good because you have another chance in main qualifying if you don't make it. And you know what Liam did? He didn't fucking make it. Right before starting his final lap, he didn't even have enough time, so his best lap was only good enough for 20th place. And when the sprint shootout started, it took Liam 4 laps to send it down the inside of Jack Doohan in a tractor of Alpine. And when he did, he couldn't even get past without being wheel to wheel and making a shit ton of contact. He ended up 14th and had hopes of improving qualifying for the main race. At the end of Q1, he was 19th, and I was watching and begging for him to improve, and to my surprise, he actually did. To 18th. Doohan and Ocon improved behind him, meaning for the second time he'd started in 20th and last. Fuck all happened in the race, so all of us and Liam knew it was time for him to go. And then F1 arrived in Bahrain, where Lawson was having one of his worst, stupidest, and even dumbest races of his entire career. It was after this race that he would be in an incident every time for the next 3 races back to back. In Bahrain, he collided with Lance Stroll and Nico Hülkenberg. In Saudi Arabia, he got a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. And in Miami, he pulled one of the fucking stupidest takes on Aston Martin ever. I just cannot even stress how much of a threat this man is. He is just He had pretty decent chance in Monaco, scoring 8th, and he also finished 6th in Austria as well, but crashed once again on the opening lap of the British Grand Prix. But if things keep continuing, he'll be known forever as the new Lance Stroll. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, click the one on screen. YouTube thinks you'll love it. I do too. All my videos are awesome. I know I'm biased, but I know this one right here, you'll love it. It's kind of like this one, but you don't see my face because I'm ugly. Okay, bye now.
Do a little yoga, do a little dance, baby come over, leave your man straight to the sofa, bad romance, baby can't wait for ain't no